On Book Chats this morning on Wake Up Nigeria, we are reviewing Ladder of Bones, written by Dr. Bunmi Oyinsan. She is a Nigerian-Canadian writer, filmmaker, social science researcher, and international development strategist. It is indeed a pleasure to have you in the studio with us this morning. How do you do?
It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So your book, A Ladder of Bones, really interesting. I'm not quite sure where to start from. It's gory, yet it's real. And I'm actually wondering just how much research went into writing this book. But then let me start from what inspired this particular, because I know you're an author who has several publications as well, and you've written a lot. So what inspired this one?
Well, A Ladder of Bones was actually is a result of my attempts at grappling with and making connections between memory, inheritance, and empire. And so what I've tried to do is to I located the story in several African countries and the African diaspora. Yeah. And then around the lives of 5 main characters, young Africans, who, as a result of one form of violence or the other, they have this common link as people of African descent, you know, who have to go through the kind of violence that they go through just because they are born in certain parts of the world. And I was particularly interested in linking history to personal stories because we often don't make that connection. For me, it's very important that history is seen as part of our ways, one of our strategies for moving forward. Absolutely. If we don't know where we're coming from, how can we even understand where we are and then even strategize about the future? We can't, you know, and we need, I know history is heavy for a lot of people, and I thought, okay, fictionalize some of these things and tell them in the form of stories.
Now, this book is one that when you read it, you get this feeling that it was probably not written by someone from that area, because we've actually had loads of books that talk about the African stories in this kind of manner, but are not written by Africans. Especially the ones that starts, you know, talking about even whether it's from a different country, just like from the start when what's her name again? Enilolobo, how she was discovered. And, you know, the whole story, I dare say I visualized it. It was like watching a movie while I was reading it. You're very descriptive, I must say. Well done for that. When you write, I'm transported and I'm on a journey with the book.
Oh, thank you.
It was difficult for me not to, you know, to put the book down and say, you know what, I'll take a break. But this is a very good book. Now, we're looking at the major characters. But before we talk about the major characters, can you give a summary of the book for those who haven't heard about it? Okay.
First, let me touch on the title, A Ladder of Bones. And my preoccupation with history. There's a history book that is so popular, written by a British woman, which tries to tell the story, of Nigeria from the point of view of the colonizers. Her book is titled Ladder of Bones, and in that book, she actually draws some vivid pictures about people celebrating, children thriving as a result of British colonization of Nigeria on the eve of our independence. And that kind of, I read the book maybe like 25 years ago. It never left me. I was so determined to unpack,
to write it from
so write it from our own point of view. So, and I also know that kind of way of writing Nigeria's history is not unique to us. It's something that cuts across, you know, Africa and the African diaspora, which is why coming to your question, I set the story around the lives of 5 young people.
Yeah.
One a Sierra Leonean who ended up as a child soldier. One a Liberian who actually watched his parents killed by child soldier. As another one a Sudanese, one of the lost boys, and one a Jamaican girl who is a victim of economic violence, you know. And then the main character, Enilo Lobo, who is a character who has this ability, who is found on a Canadian street as a child of about 6 or 7, but carries within her the history of so many generations, you know, many experiences, many past lives, and she cannot decipher it. The doctors can't. And so she decides to start recording, because once in a while she goes into some kind of a trance, and then she starts recording it as a way of trying to understand how she got here. You know, the idea, this whole thing is a metaphor around, like I said, why we need to go back to our history to know where we went wrong, celebrate our victories, which nobody is ready to do except us. And we people are, I mean, other even academia, most Eurocentric Europeans are determined, you know, that we would never know about. So we need to celebrate those victories, but also find out where we went wrong so that we can know how to solve our problems today and, you know, strategize better for future generations.
You know, any trances for me were more or less like you were giving another in-depth aspect to the book. It was a way of, just as you've explained now, of trying to marry the past, ensure the information is shared properly, yet make it seem like it is from someone who has the ability to have experienced it and has now come back to life in the body of a young girl. And it was brilliantly done.
Thank you.
It's, in as much as we might say that, it's just a girl in a trance and then nobody understands her, even she doesn't understand herself. It was also, for those who know a bit about history, it was also an opportunity to piece some things together. And that takes me to what I mentioned earlier, so I'm going to bring it again. The research that went into this book. How did you do it?
Well, anybody who knows me knows I'm passionate about history. I've always loved history. So I did a lot of, you know, history, research into the historical eras, especially the ones in which Enilo Lobo lived. We actually see her as a child. One of her reincarnations was remembering of a time when she was captured as a child during slavery. We see her through slavery as a young African woman, and enslaved woman, and then we see various aspects of African life, you know, and the results of slavery, slave trade, and colonization. And I'm not a Sierra Leonean, I've never lived in Sierra Leone, so I had to research into their recent history, the same with Liberia, the same with, so I did a lot of historical research. And I also, I'm a storyteller. I've always loved telling stories. And so I also read, I'm a big fan of Toni Morrison.
I can tell.
You know, and I have some of her books that are on my annual list of must reads, you know, and so I research by reading other authors who have written things that I think will be relevant to the kind of style that I want to adopt and all of that. So research, it's
it does show. It does show, and I should commend your son. Bunmi Oyinsan II.
Oh, yes.
For this.
Who designed the cover?
Designed the cover. So the design of the cover was actually done by your son. And it was brilliant.
Thank you.
It's actually perfect for the story.
Yeah, he read
because
it.
I dare say this is Enilo Lobo. Yeah, I see.
He read it and he said, Mom, you know, I can visualize Enilo Lobo for you. I said, let me see. And, you know, I was just so blown away when he came up with the cover
There's a lot
concept.
to unpack, but I'm going to recommend this book for you. It's called A Ladder of Bones by Bunmi Oyinsan is one that will you definitely need to have in your library. Thank you so much for your time, Bunmi. Thank you so much indeed. And you know what? To reward you, we have breakfast. Yes, we have breakfast. Chef Falcon has made breakfast. So we'll head to the kitchen right now.
The smell has been tantalizing.
I can imagine. So let's get going.